Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a general reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Capricorn, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I truly appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out to solicit for a private reading. I do offer private readings, and if you're interested in signing up for one of those or in making a donation, the information regarding that can be found in the About section of my YouTube page, and I thank you so much in advance. So, Capricorn, I'm just getting off of a little bit of a cold, so I wasn't recording for a minute. So I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things. And in the meantime, I rearranged a lot of things in my room, which doesn't seem like it, but I basically moved almost all of my crystals around, and I don't know why it surprises me, but it changed the energy in my room, so I'm still kind of getting used to the vibe. I think I'm gonna have to kind of alter things a little bit more, but it was like a kind of series of weird things happened before I turned on the camera. Like lights not working, not because of any paranormal thing, but just because, you know how sometimes in a room there's like a random switch that turns off all the outlets, and somehow I think I knocked that switch, and so instead of just turning that switch back on, because I didn't realize, I thought my lamp wasn't working, and so I opened it up to change the light bulb, and there was it's just like a whole thing. And I wasn't going to tell you guys that, but Spirit wanted me to mention it because it's relevant somehow in your reading or in your energy, as if you know, nothing's wrong, but you feel as though the energy is a little off for you right now, that you may have had some plan of how to do something, and then there's just this like wrench in the machine, or like a fly in the ointment, that kind of thing. So I just wanted to mention that. I actually did not do a mini meditation for you. This is another thing that's different. I did a mini meditation for all the other signs, but for you, I have in this container, I have charms. And Spirit wanted me to choose the charms and interpret, so do some charm casting for you. So I'm going to read out the items that I came up with when I charm casted, and then I'm going to hold it up so that you can take a screen cap if you want. First one is cleaning house, sweet rewards, divine protection, unfinished business, a trip or travel, planting roots, cultivation, your vibration out of alignment, a memory from childhood, specifically having to do with sports, and a winter holiday. So that's what came from my charm casting. So if you want to take a screen cap of that, I hope I don't have to stop this reading, because now I'm like weirdly losing my voice, which it's just happening now. So we're just going to push through it. I'm going to do my best, and I hope it's not too annoying. I already have a very low speaking voice, so I'm kind of having to project at this time. I hope you are doing well. I'm going to pull one card from the Shaman's Dream Oracle for the overall energy, and your reading today will be with the Light Seers Tarot. So Capricorn, cards have been pre-shuffled. We get an overall energy for Capricorn, please, Spirit. Thank you. Number 5, closing door, completion. It's so interesting because I have a clock I have a clock on my phone, but I have a clock here, and it said 2:55. And I was like, there are those 5s again. And then I pull this card and it's a 5. I didn't say it out loud, but you just have to trust me. Closing the door. It's so interesting though. Usually one would close the door you think of closing the door on something, you're like closing the door on the past, some kind of darkness or something you don't really want to think about anymore. You've come to a completion point, but behind this door there's a lot of light, magic. So it's interesting because I don't know what side of the door you're on. Or maybe you completed something, it's like a project or something that just came to a natural close, but that natural close is an accomplishment. It's beautiful. It's noteworthy. And it's important that you close the door on it so that you can move on to the next step. Anytime we see fives in, at least in the tarot, fives represent transition. They can represent limbo, but they also speak about transitioning from one point to the next. So that could be what you're going through right now. It's interesting too because your charm casting got unfinished business. So maybe that this is you finally tying up loose ends. I just heard making your peace. This is the second time I have the tarot deck ready to go, and the top card has flipped off twice, and I've put it back on, and now I'm not gonna flip it off anymore. Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles talks about, you know, it talks about a lot of things, but I'm just gonna read it as I read it for you today, which is cherishing. You're cherishing something right now. I don't think it's something that you tell many people about. It feels secretive. It's like there's something inside her bag. Now I'm thinking of Hermione Granger from Harry Potter, the bag that she had that just seemed to have an endless supply of resources. It could be relevant to you. Endless supply of resources. So it's interesting. I just saw like an endless supply of downloads from spirit, like ideas, creative ideas. You're keeping them to yourself at this time. I feel a little bit of secretive energy, almost like if it's just an abundance of ideas, it's like you're taking them all with you and you're closing the door behind you. We shall see. I'm gonna pull 4 cards for the base spread, 4 cards for clarifier, past, present, future, and advice from spirit. Lots of cards in reverse. All cards are out. In the past energy, you have the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles talks about somebody who it's interesting. So the shape of these, well, let me say what I was going to say first, which was Page of Pentacles can talk about taking a step forward towards an opportunity, a new opportunity, being curious about it. And it's a small but significant action towards something. You did get this card in the reverse, but I'm looking at this pose, like this is kind of hearkening back to like a yoga pose, but it's almost as if you're in this stationary pose and you're waiting on someone or something to tell you the next move. And that's why the card is in reverse. It's like clarified by the Temperance. This is Major Arcana, number 14, and it represents Sagittarius energy. Talks about patience. Talks about alchemization. And there could be something here that Spirit just showed me a coffee pot, like brewing. There's something that is percolating, brewing for you at this time. But it's not just like a drip coffee pot. It's one of those really fancy to-do. It's such a to-do. It's like a kind of a high maintenance pour over coffee situation that they're showing me. It's like really complicated. But you're trying to achieve the perfect cup. And when I said cup, of course, it makes me think of the cups, the suit of cups, and love. Are you looking to kind of alchemize the perfect relationship? The perfect kind of connection. Could be with spirit too, because I see these wings. This is supposed to be the archangel, right? And it's a slow and steady process of connecting with the, thank you, okay. It's a slow and steady process of connecting with the divine. But I feel you're waiting for your next step. You're not entirely sure. This is in the past energy. You're not entirely sure. It feels a little foreign. Like you're not used to embarking on an adventure that deals with the divine. Almost like you're hiding it because maybe it scares you, because you don't know what's behind the door. You know it's beautiful, but if you're on this side of the door starts to pry open a little bit. Maybe you're the one closing it from this side, almost like the light is too bright and you're closing it. Take it as it resonates, but that feels resonant for someone. That your spiritual gifts are burgeoning. They're just coming to the surface, and you could feel really intimidated. They are intimidating when you figure out what your gifts are. And they don't just have to be classically spiritual, I guess is what I want to say, typically spiritual. But if you find what your gifts are, and then you start to run with it. I'm just seeing somebody like a mechanic, somebody who's really good with machinery, just have a natural proclivity, a natural inclination to be able to tinker with machinery, take it apart and put it back together. That is not a gift that I have. That is not a gift that a lot of people have. And you may not see it as something spiritual, but what it shows is how Spirit made your brain. Spirit made your brain in order for you to be able to take things apart, repair them, put them back together in a way that it runs even more efficiently, right? So whatever your gifts are, they could be surprising you. And okay, so Spirit's giving me I might have told this story before, but Spirit is giving it to me again. having to deal with a very beautiful Capricorn in my life, who may or may not be watching this video. I hope she doesn't mind me talking about it, but you'll have no idea who I'm talking about anyway. So this particular friend is she has a very strong practical mind, but she has undoubted spiritual gifts. One of those gifts involves the Akashic records. And when she was first starting out on her journey with understanding the Akashic records, the great warehouse in the sky where we can access channel information related to our past lives and our future lives and our present tense. It's pretty heady stuff. If you've never had an Akashic records reading, I highly recommend it. But when she was first starting out on this journey, you know, there was a little tentativeness, as there is with anything that you first take a step towards. Not entirely sure how to navigate that. And I was kind of helping her in this process, and I said, you know, what is it that you have always been good at, like your whole life, even since you were little? What have you been good at? And she said, it was kind of like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure. It's something that's not necessarily the most spiritual or whatever. She said something to that effect, and it was, I said, what is it? And she said, I'm able to kind of pull out random bits of information at exactly the time that I need it. Like, she can look at something, a piece of data, because she used to work in finance. She used to look at a piece of data and then just like file it away for later. And then in, you know, 2 years into the future, she could be having a meeting with all of these other people and say, oh, I remember this this piece of information. It's completely relevant to our conversation happening in the here and now. And I looked at her and I said, well, isn't that what reading the Akashic records is like? That you have access to all this information, and that at the right moment that you need it, you just kind of draw it out. And so that could be what you're dealing with right now. You may have gifts that you have no idea how they're relevant or useful, but Spirit knows. But what they need you to maybe perhaps not do is close the door on them. In the present energy, Emperor in reverse, Aries in the major arcana number 4, and the Knight of Pentacles. So page to the Knight. So this was your past energy. This is your present energy. We're in the upright now. We are taking strides forward towards something, bringing along our resources, our wealth of experience. But there could be a sense of a loss of control. Maybe that's why this card came out. We're holding on very tightly because we feel a loss of control. That we don't have all of the answers, that maybe people are looking to you for answers and you cannot provide them at this time. You could have a lot of responsibility to your job, your family, your friends, your own self, and things could feel a little chaotic for you, and it could be causing you to feel a little bit of anger, frustration. I'm going to pull a clarifier on that. Excuse me. Yeah. That just shot out. 3 of Swords. This is the card of disappointment. It's pretty straightforward what this card is about. Heartbreak. Heartbreak. But you see here, there's this attempt to try and mend things. You know, I see this here, these two lines, obviously where the breakage has occurred, but there's also kind of threads here, kind of Frankenstein like threads, trying to piece things back together. There's a, I never remember this word, but there's a craft. I don't know if you call it a craft or a ritual. I'm not sure how to phrase it. In Japanese culture, where if there is like a dish that is broken and you still have all the pieces, you can have someone put the pieces back together, mend the dish, and, you know, in a very meticulous process. And it involves kind of placing the special ceramics or paint or glue or whatever it is. So carefully and delicately putting something back together. I feel like it's called kitsugi or something with a K. I'm sorry if I cannot remember it and Spirit's not bringing it to me. But it's this like sacred process, and it's this idea that even when we try to mend, we're going to be indelibly changed by, thank you Spirit, by what it was that broke our heart in the first place. And you could be dealing with that right now in a very powerful way. Like you've reached the level of emperor. It's like the tip top of maturity, power, a harnessing of the resources within the self. When the card is in reverse, especially coupled with this card, massive energies of like reckoning is what I feel. And yet, I just heard the song, I think it's by Jack White. I don't know if it was when he was with the White Stripes or with the Raconteurs or one of his bands, but I hear him singing, steady as she goes, steady as she goes, steady as she goes. So there's something here. That song might resonate with you. Steady as she goes. You're not letting it deter you. It's almost like you're having a dark night of the soul, and it's coming up. You don't realize you're having it though, not yet. You don't realize that this is the spiritual test. You just feel like there's a lot of earthbound concerns that you're just trying to put in place, the unfinished business, right? Vibration out of alignment, those things that I saw with your charm casting. In the future potential, the Death card in reverse, Scorpio energy, and the Hermit. This is the future potential. See, I told you there was a dark night of the soul. The Hermit is somebody who pulls themselves out of society for a period of time to spiritually reflect, to grow, to heal trauma, inner child wounding. There's a lot of unfinished business. And it's really important that you tie up the loose ends. The Death card talks about death and rebirth. And as it represents Scorpio, Scorpio deals with the depths. If you've ever known Scorpios, they're ruled by Pluto. And Pluto is all about, death, sex, transformation, that kind of thing. It's dark energy. But Scorpios are accustomed to being in that energy. Perhaps Capricorns are not. And I feel like you're finding it difficult to bring something to a close. There's two ways that I see you dealing with this door. There's a part of you that's pushing on the door because you're afraid of all of this light that's behind it. It's intimidating. Or you're on the other side and you're trying to pull the door closed because you just want something to come to an end. I'm just hearing the thing that I always tell Geminis, which is this and that are true. 4 cards came out to clarify the Death card in reverse. Queen of Swords, somebody that's just looking plainly for the truth in a plain, unadulterated, cold way. The 9 of Swords in the reverse, no longer wanting to contemplate it, no longer wanting to deliberate it in the mind, lose sleep over it. The Knight of Wands, just everything in you just wants to almost plow your way through. It's almost like I see a big, like, 2 things I see. A friend just posted video of him at a monster truck rally, like these gigantic trucks that just go over bumps and they do all these tricks, and it's almost like I see one of those big trucks like just plowing through. And I also saw somebody just speeding down the side of a mountain on skis. There's something about you that really wants to just drive forward. And the 5 of Swords in the reverse, not wanting to, honestly, there could be a little bit of playing dirty at this time. When the Emperor is in reverse, he's not in his highest vibration. So it's almost like in the future energy, you're gonna, if there was any pettiness or sabotage, trickiness, you're not dealing with that anymore, because this is an enlightened state that you are approaching. You could be in that energy at this time, Capricorn, and I'm just gonna say it. Look, the card fell, and it fell in the upright. I think, I would hope that maybe through the course of this reading, I'm not taking credit for your work, but maybe in the course of you listening to this, you're understanding that you're actually behaving in this way because of your pain. And no one's judging that. That way that I was saying that was petty. And when the card fell out of my hand, I don't take anything for granted when I read tarot. Sounds, the cards fall out, how they do, if they fall out of my hand, I don't take it for granted. I always pick up cards with the right hand. When I first pick them up, it's always with my right hand. That's a deal I have with Spirit. When I picked up this card, it was in the upright. So it's almost like I feel like you're trying to turn things around. What is the advice from Spirit? The 6 of Swords in the reverse and the 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles talks about investment and hard work, diligence. 6 of Wands talks about victory, although this one can represent, okay, So they just said, there are no winners here. It's very bleak, but that's what I heard. It's almost like I heard you saying it. Almost like this is winning at all costs, this card. 5 of Swords, winning at all costs. It's almost like I heard you saying, it's almost like your higher self is talking. It's difficult. I have had difficulty talking throughout this whole reading. I didn't have problems talking yesterday, but I am having issues, and I have my lapis lazuli right next to me. It is difficult, whatever this is. I don't know what this is, but you're gonna walk away from something. You're gonna walk away from something. And you're not gonna come away feeling arrogant or super proud. You are gonna walk away, but there are no winners here. I'm gonna pull one more card on that. What is your advice on how to approach this, Spirit? The World card in reverse. Unfinished business. Unfinished. If now it's feeling karmic. I don't see the Justice card. What's at the bottom of the deck? 5 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I feel like you're leaving somebody behind. I'm just gonna say it like that. Lots of 5s. You got 3 5s in your reading today. Look, see? Please take that as a synchronicity. These are 5 5. And they both involve doors. Being behind the door. I don't see this as you though, Capricorn. This is whoever you're dealing with. And, you know, I'm sorry for that person, but I don't think they have a place in your life anymore. And I think that that is the hard reality, the harsh reality, that you are realizing they're no longer for your best and highest good. And you have no malice against them, but Spirit is saying you must close this cycle so that you can make room for abundance that wants to come towards you. Abundance wants to come towards you. It's basically like pouring out, seeping through the cracks. This wasn't an easy message, Capricorn, but I feel like it was important for somebody to hear. And now I feel your spirit guides coming through because they're just tunneling my ear. Thank you, Spirit. Your spirit guides are with you, like really, really, truly they are. Please ask them for guidance, for help. Talk to them before you go to bed. Ask them for answers to appear in your dreams. Or start writing things down. Ask them for specific synchronicities. It's really important. They want to talk to you. They want to help you, but they cannot interfere. You have to ask. You can't be afraid. Don't be afraid of like what's waiting for you. That's your reading, Capricorn. I hope that it resonated. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please hit the bell notification to be updated as to when I post new readings. Thank you, Capricorn.